Hey there, this is Stan, K9SWX, and today I'm going to be talking about where to buy used ham radio gear. The first place I'd start to find used gear would be to check with your local ham club. Oftentimes they have used gear. Sometimes they'll even loan you or give you some older gear, especially if you're a newer ham, to help you get into the hobby and get on the air and help you out because, gear is expensive sometimes. So the best way I've found to find your local club, if you don't know what it is already, is to go to the ARRL website and click on the Find a Club option. And I'll have all these links in the description below. So as you can see, I've got their page pulled up, and you can search by, your zip code, and then you can pick, within so many miles. You can do city, state, all this other stuff. So I'm just going to put in my city and my state, Illinois, and I'm going to hit search. And there it is. There's our local ham radio club, and it's got their website, and then you can go there and contact people there, and they might even have a online listing of gear that they're trying to sell. So that's one option. Another local option is to look up a Hamfest or a swap meet, and they often have an area either inside or outside, usually outside if it's nice weather, where just anybody can set up a table. It's usually either free or pretty affordable. You get a certain amount of space, and they'll put up all their gear or whatever else they're selling. But you can find some pretty good deals, especially on older gear sometimes. So again, the best way I've found is to go back to the ARR website, and you can search by zip code, city, state. I know if I type in my city, there's nothing. We don't have anything right here in town. So I'm going to put in our local zip code, and we'll just do within 100 miles. And that should bring up a few here. There we go. And as you can see, there's multiple Hamfests over the next 5 or 6 months here. And you would just click on one of these and find out the information. And usually it's in the morning on like a Saturday or Sunday morning. Unless it's a really big one, then it'll be probably Friday night, Friday afternoon to Sunday morning, Sunday about noon or so. But, you can find some pretty good deals. So that's another kind of somewhat local option to try out. Now, if you're having trouble finding local options to pick up some used gear, you can obviously go online. And one of my favorite online places is QTH, which is swap.qth.com. It's a free service. If you sell something on there, they prefer you give them a small donation, or I think they've got a wish list on Amazon or something you can help them out with. But they recommend, like, I think it's 2% of the sale or $5 or just whatever, just to keep their servers running and everything. So it's a pretty popular place to go. But as you can see here, you can go by categories. You can see all the ads that were placed today, and I'll just pull up VHF, UHF radios, and it's pretty much text based. Some of them have photos, like this one has this little camera icon. You click it, and it gives you the photo next to the ad, and you click the photo again, and then get a better picture there. So this is definitely the one I prefer, especially since it's free, and there's a lot of activity on here. So I would recommend this one first. Now, the next one I would check out is eHam. And this site's been around for ages. And they also have this classifieds site. And as you can see, I'm not logged in right now, but it shows, when they posted, and then they show, what the item is and what category it's in. And then if you go into one of these, it'll show you a picture and how much they want for it. So that's pretty nice. This one is more of a subscription based site. So you can still post stuff for free, but it's recommended you subscribe if you're going to be doing a lot of buying or selling on this site. I mean, they have a lot of other things on this site too, but just speaking of the classifieds section, there is a subscription, but there's nothing, they don't charge anything to sell anyway. But I think there's different levels of subscriptions and all that. But for the free, you just create a free account, you should be good enough to buy and sell stuff. So the next biggie is QRZ.com. And this one, you can, if you want to buy or sell on this site, you have to subscribe. You have to give them a payment. I'm not sure what it is. They've got different levels, but you have to be a paid subscriber to post in the for sale. But you don't have to be one to buy necessarily if they give you their email address or their phone number to contact them. But some people prefer you contact them through QRZ. So at that point, you may need to get the subscription, but you can scroll down and see all of the stuff here, and then people can post. Oh, here's a THD74. That's pretty cool. But they got a nice, picture. A lot of people have multiple pictures. This person just has one. But they want $600, which is a pretty good deal for this radio. I've seen it go, $700, maybe $800. So, well, this one comes with an extra battery too. So that's a pretty slick deal. I wish I had the money for that. But anyway, I'll go back to the main thing here. But yeah, I mean, you can, as long as you're a registered user, you can browse through this. But if you actually you can't reply to them through the forum. There's another way to do it. But I usually just look up their call on QRZ and send them an email if I'm interested. Now the final one is the behemoth of eBay. And there's a lot of stuff on eBay. Like we'll just since we were looking at that other one here, we'll just do the D74. And there's a few on here. But you got to be careful where they're from, because this one comes from Japan. And sometimes, this one does say D74A, but sometimes there's other outside the U.S. models of these radios that you'll see on eBay, and you're like, oh, this is a great deal. And then you get it, and then you realize, oh, it's not for the U.S. bands. It's for like the Japanese bands or some other region. And a lot of the time you can't change it inside the radio. You got to buy one version or the other. So that's one thing to consider on eBay. Another thing is these prices get kind of crazy. I mean, you've got this one has over 8 days left. It's already at $620 and 22 bids. So, it could go to 1,000. Who knows? That's something I've noticed is a lot of radios on eBay are kind of overpriced, but I think they do that because there's so many fees involved. The seller has to pay a fee just to post the item, and then they have to pay a final, it's like a percentage of the sale when they sell the radio. And then, if they use PayPal or something like that, there's more fees involved. So it's kind of crazy that all the fees involved. But, hey, if sometimes you can find a really good deal or an old radio or something that's not sold anymore, and that's the only place you can find it. Sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and get in a bidding war, or sometimes they'll have like this one, best offer. You can throw an offer at them. You may get lucky. They may tell you where to go. So, at least when I sell stuff on here, I usually put a best offer, and I'll put, a slightly higher price than I'm willing to take. And then someone can talk me down, be like, well, you want 400, I'll offer 350 or 375. And, it will work with that. So always be willing to throw a best offer out there if someone's got it on their radio. You never know what they'll accept. They might surprise you. So yeah, just eBay is it's a good place, but then there's so many fees, and the radios tend to have higher prices than some of the other online options. Now, another area to look for used gear online is your ham radio dealers. A lot of them seem to have a used section. I don't know if they've been traded in or if they've purchased them and then they're reselling them, but they do have used sections here. We'll start with this one from Associated Radio. This is their used items. It looks like it's sorted by an alphabetical order. They've got books. There's some ARRL books, some antennas. There's an old radio, rotor control, all kinds of stuff here. Even some Heathkit stuff. So yeah, here's one option. So you might even feel better about ordering a used item from a dealer versus some stranger online, because hopefully the dealer has tested it out and everything is as it should be, unless it says, sold for parts or whatever. The one thing I've noticed is some of these dealers are kind of high on their resale value on some of the radios, as we'll see here in a minute. Let's go to the next one here. This is a Ham Radio Outlet, a very big, popular ham dealer in the U.S. They have actually 3 different sections of used radios, used gear. The first one is the used items here. This is what I went to, used items. And it's sorted by the highest price first, and then it goes down from there. Let me see if I can find one. Like here's a Kenwood D710A, not the GA, not the one with the GPS, but that one's selling for $750, which it's kind of high, but then again, it's not made anymore, and it's a very awesome radio, so, it is what it is, but it's a little higher than you might see on a site like QTH or QRZ. So that's their used section. And then the next section they have is the open box items. So they've been sold and returned. They might be used. Maybe they just didn't want the item and they sent it back. And usually it's not too different from their, if the item is still available as new from them, the price isn't that much lower. Like as you can see, this tuner here, normally it's $450, but the open box is $404. So you're saving some money on some of these. But at least it's available, and it should be slightly cheaper than the brand new one. Like here's an Arrow antenna, normally $158. It's open box is $143. So, what is that? $14-15. So, it's not too much, but then again, everything adds up, and you save $1, you save $1. And then finally from HRO, they have consignment sales, which is also here. And it's just people wanting the dealer to sell their item for them. So like here's a ICOM 706 Mark II-G. And then it also tells you where well, I guess it does here too. But you can sometimes tell where it's from their item number up here. But obviously it says Anaheim right here. So, but again, that's another option. Like here's a FTM 400. This was just discontinued not too long ago, and they're selling that for $450. I think the new ones, if you can find them, I think they're a couple $100 more. So, but sometimes you can find a good deal. So that's what HRO has on the used side. Let's jump over to MTC Radio. They also have a used gear section. And like HRO, they start from the highest price and go down here. But it seems a little high priced for me, like a 7100. Now, granted, they're out of stock right now. I don't know if they've been discontinued or not, or if they're just waiting on more stock. But I haven't seen any new ones in stock anywhere in a long time. So, but $1,600 is a lot of money for that radio, which I think was selling for 1,000 or 1,100 new or something like that. So I don't know. They have things, but some of them are pretty high priced here. There was one other radio, but I don't see it on there, so maybe they sold it. But yeah, some of them are a little high in price. Yeah, like the ID51, $450. Maybe, I don't know. It just seems a little high for that radio. But if you can't find it, you can't find it, and this might be the only way you get it. But then, the FT3DR, $400. That's not too bad. The FT5 is out now, but so you just gotta be aware of kind of compare prices between sites. If the radio you want is available on multiple sites, definitely do some shopping around. Let's jump to the next one, which is R&L Electronics, and their used link is right here, used equipment, and they sort it by alphabetical here, so it's pretty easy to find. I got a bunch of Heathkit stuff. Heil, let's see, ICOM. Here's, they don't have too much. Here's a 91 AD. Yeah. Again, you got to be careful with the pricing, because sometimes they're asking a little bit much than you could probably, more than you'd find on maybe QTH or QRZ. What do they got down here? Anything? There's an old... Yeah, a lot of this stuff might not even work, but at least they tell you, this one's broke. As is, no transmit. Hey, at least you know. So that's good. Whole bunch of miscellaneous stuff. Radio Shack. Okay. Yaesu. Let's see if they got any Yaesu stuff. Here's an 857. Lines in display. So that's actually not a bad price. I don't know, do they show? Oh yeah, they do have some pictures. Kind of slow loading here. Just curious. And it's not. Oh, here. Okay. So it's a very common problem with that radio. But hey, at least it's, you could use it, or you could buy a news display, or I think there's people out there that can fix them or something. So, $495 isn't that bad for, I used to have one of these radios a long time ago, and it's pretty fun radio, and it's got VHF, UHF, and HF, of course. So, again, you just have to, check the prices and see if that's something you want to pay for a radio that's, a little older, but still might have some life left in it. And the last one I want to look at is good old Universal Radio, which technically the people that owned it retired, but I guess I don't know if they've hired somebody to kind of sell the rest of their inventory. But if you go, let me go back to their homepage here. They've got over here, they've got used list. And this, it says it's updated as of, yesterday, from the time I'm filming this video. This was updated the day before, so somebody's updating it. But they've got all kinds of stuff on here. There's an old, that's just accessories. All kinds of, there's some DVDs. Let's see. I know they've got radios on here somewhere. Got a bunch of microphones. Okay, here's Kenwood. There's an old HT K20, $100. So, it's another place you might find something. Let's see. Sony. There's a shortwave, FM, medium wave radio. That's interesting. $18. Oh, okay. We'll see. Bad only for parts. So at least they tell you. Sometimes on eBay they don't tell you. And then if you keep scrolling, here's Yaesu. But if you keep scrolling down, then they switch over. They've got a whole bunch of owner's manuals, service manuals. You keep going past this section, and then you get into, I don't know, all kinds of catalogs and spec sheets and brochures. I'm sure they've had this stuff because they've been around a long time, and so they probably had all this stuff in a drawer somewhere, and now they just got to get rid of it. So yeah, that's pretty neat. But then they keep going, and they got a bunch of ARRL books and calendars and a whole bunch of handbooks. So yeah, I mean, this is yet another source that you could possibly find something you're looking for in the used ham radio gear market. So that's a pretty decent list of places you can find some used ham gear. Just curious, if you know of a place I didn't mention, please throw it down in the comments below and let me know, and I'll take a look at it. And if you have any questions, you can always put those down there as well, and I will try to reply as best as I can. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and make sure to ding my bell to be notified when I post new videos. Thanks again, and 73 from K9SWX.